Got some amazing new polling numbers that are just out for Kamala Harris. This time, Nate Silver, who invented 538, who's been a naysayer of Kamala Harris's campaign almost for the last 2 months since she got the nomination, has now turned around and said on Consolidated Polling and poll of polls that he's seen and the way he's applying his own modeling, that she is in the lead nationally between 3 and 4 percentage points. In addition to that, he believes for the first time that Kamala Harris is now in the lead in 6 out of the 7 battleground states, leaving only Georgia, where she is tied, meaning a statistical dead heat. There's a tremendous shift already that we've been observing. I said eventually, from the nomination, from the almost perfectly run Kamala Harris-Tim Walz campaign. I mean, frankly, I haven't seen a campaign this perfectly run without a false step or misstep since Barack Obama. One, it shows you the ability, capacity, executive function, and leadership of Kamala Harris. One of the ways that you're supposed to judge a presidential candidate is by how disciplined they are, how well they're running their campaign, how a well-oiled machine it is. How is Kamala Incorporated being run by the CEO and Commander-in-Chief Kamala Harris? Superbly. And in sharp contrast, you have the undisciplined, out of control troll of Donald Trump in trying to mean tweet his way back to the White House. So you look at that body of work. Obama ran an amazing campaign. Now, some of the people that helped Barack Obama win, like David Plouffe, who worked with David Axelrod to get the first Black American ever elected president, are working with Kamala Harris. But credit goes to Kamala Harris. She's no empty suit. She's to paraphrase some of the people, my friends that live in Texas, she's not all hat, no cattle. She's got a lot of cattle. She's got a lot of brass ones too, and she's running a perfect campaign. And now that add on to that, and a bolt on to that, the debate performance. And it looks like Donald Trump is going to cede the election to Kamala Harris. We've never had a situation in the last 50 years since Nixon versus JFK, and the debates were televised. We've never had a situation where there hasn't been at least 3 debates and 1 presidential debate. And normally the last debate happens about 2 or 3 weeks before the election, usually in October. Donald Trump has decided, I don't need to do that. I did so well during the debate. Something that 75% of America doesn't agree with. I did so well in the debate. One debate's fine. And he's going to actually allow, think about this, as if he thinks he's got the election in the bag. I mean, he's half in the bag himself, but the fact that he thinks the election is in the bag, he's going to let J.D. Vance talk about all hat, no cattle. Talk about empty suit. Talk about that fake imitation hillbilly who wrote a book once, seems to be his claim to fame, and was a senator for about 6 months. He's going to debate Tim Walz, right? The nation's social studies teacher, the nation's football coach, who served honorably in the military at the highest levels. He's going to debate Tim Walz about what it means to be poor or middle class or serve your country. Okay. And Donald Trump's going to allow J.D. Vance, who his campaign has been busy cleaning up behind, like you clean up behind the elephants in a circus. They're going to let J.D. Vance have the last word with 30 million pairs of eyeballs of American voters before the election, and that's it? Okay. All of these missteps, these foot and mouths by Donald Trump, these places where he hasn't just shot himself in the foot, but he shot himself in the head, going after Black journalists about the ethnicity or racial makeup of his opponent, going after Haitians, claiming there's a border crisis between Haiti and Ohio. Get a map, man. Go back to geography class. Maybe you should take a class from teacher Mr. Walz. There's no border. That's not how the Haitian community, hardworking, proud community, ended up in Springfield, Ohio. He's decided to make himself the protector of everybody's dogs and cats, and to keep Taylor Swift away from your children. Is this going to win an election? Or to paraphrase the patriarch, the father on Succession, is Donald Trump a serious man? I mean, honestly. So you have all of that. And now all of these factors, the Truth social media stock going into the trash, heading down towards penny stock levels. soon to be dropping well below $10 a share that it went to the market on. While Donald Trump, instead of spending every minute and every day pitching a tent in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, or in North Carolina, or any of the battleground states, where does he go? Montana, where he's going to win, Montana. Or he sends his son to the Balkans to campaign in Albania or Romania or Serbia to look for votes. That's how desperate they are at this point. And instead of every minute and every day and every bit of his oxygen and attitude and focus on trying to win an election, Donald Trump is hawking schlocky tchotchkes. That's what we call them around my house. Schlocky tchotchkes. I'll sell you a watch. You like this Turbolon? I just saw the commercial. Well, we're going to run it as a B-roll.
We're doing quite a number with watches, and the quality to me is very important. The Trump Victory Tourbillon. This isn't just any watch. It's one of the best watches made. Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
You like my Turbolon watch? There's only 8 of these. They're hand signed. You can get a cheaper version, which is probably a campaign violation, by the way. Does he talk about policy? Does he talk about values? Well, when he does, it scares the crap out of people. But does he talk about, the vision he has for America? No, but do I have a cryptocurrency platform for you? Do I have a silver coin that you can? I mean, look at his social media account. I defy you to tell me, if I strip the name off of it, that that's an account being run by somebody who's seriously running for the presidency. An attack on Kamala Harris. And then I got crypto to sell you. Another attack on Kamala Harris. And how about a watch? And another attack and how about a trading card? And how about the suit off my back? How about a Bible? How about a pair of shoes? Come on, man. And now the polls are showing it. So Nate Silver, he of 538, has said the worm has turned. That's my words in this polling data. And what the evaluators of election polling tell you, the scientists behind this, and they're usually wrong, by the way. But so keep that in context. They usually underreport Donald Trump's performance by, at least in the past, by 1.5 to 2 points. But if they said if she can get to 3, 4, and 5 points in the lead nationally, it means that she's going to win the battleground states that she needs to win. And Nate Silver just said something. For a guy that's been naysaying and boo-hooing and poo-pooing Kamala Harris for the last 2 months, to hear Nate Silver, the great predictor of elections, who's gotten like every election right the last 2 presidential elections, to hear him say that he'd rather be playing Kamala Harris's hand and not Donald Trump's hand at this moment in time, on this short track election, should be getting more press, should be getting more media attention, hence the new Legal AF MTN YouTube channel. This is where I get to do stuff like this. So the outlier of all the polls, as long as we're on the topic of polling, and the one that kind of chaps my backside, and I'm not the only one. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe just said it the other day, which is, in fact, why don't we run the clip from them on that?
But this is all margin of error stuff. And the fact that Arizona is in play at all is a change from where things were heading in the spring, Joe, Mika, Willie. And it's about trend lines. This race is close. Yep. We say it every day. This is a margin of error race. But right now, it does feel like she's got the momentum, perhaps slight momentum, but momentum all the same. And they want to keep the pathways open at 270. Arizona and the border is a way to do that.
Well, and the trend lines have been in a direction, and I don't mean to keep bringing this up, and maybe they're the only polling outfit that's right, but the trend lines have been in a direction. The New York Times Siena poll will come out, and an entire shift of reporting will happen. It will, overnight, where people say, well, her post-convention bounce stopped because the New York Times Siena poll will do something that is always outside the margin. Put these Bloomberg polls up again, if you will, TJ. And again, it doesn't look like the momentum has stopped, but a New York Times Siena poll will come out. And for some reason, people, the reporting has to be truthful. And the truthful reporting is that the New York Times Siena poll is always outside the margin of error. The New York Times then will run 16 articles on their New York Times Siena poll. And then we will really be shocked when numbers like these come out, because it'll show that actually the trend lines do continue in Kamala Harris's favor.
So here you have smart people smart people, critical thinkers, who say that why does the New York Times, which I read every day, why does the New York Times in its Siena poll, why is it always such an outlier? Why is it always so negative to Kamala Harris? Is this their way of like bending over backwards because they get attacked by Donald Trump for being such a liberal, quote unquote, failing New York Times? So here's what they do, right? Because they have a huge reader base. They have a huge audience on their social media, on their digital version, on their newspapers, on, their hard copies. So they run a poll. It says that Kamala Harris is not doing well, right? Even in battleground states. It's completely 180 degrees away from Nate Silver and every other pollster worth their salt. And then they run 5 days of stories on the poll that they created, crapping all over Kamala Harris. And all it does is it sort of, it doesn't tell the truth. And I think that's what you're hearing from the clip that we just played from Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. It ain't telling the truth. Just be straight with the American people. Polling is not a science. The term science attached to polling is it's not appropriate. It never has been. I always tell people that it reminds me of the old line by Mark Twain, right? There's 3 types of lies. Lies, damn lies, and he said statistics. And I'll say polling. All right. So they got it wrong last time. They said Hillary Clinton was going to win. That same Nate Silver, just to give an example, the day of the election in 2016, because I was a Nate Silver fan and I followed 538. And to make myself feel better, I got up in the morning of election day and I looked to see what the percentage probability likelihood of Hillary Clinton winning on Nate Silver's 538. And I will tell you, it was over 90%. And I had a little bounce in my step that day. I'm like, we got this. It's in the bag. Now, I don't know if that kept people home. It suppressed the vote. I don't know what happened there, but I do know she lost and he was wrong. And the 10% horse came in and not the 90% winner. So even the great Nate Silver is wrong. But I think the reporting here that I'm doing, the analysis, the commentary, is that when even a Nate Silver has come around to Kamala Harris and read the polls with his own eyes and run his own statistical modeling and come out the other side by saying she's ahead in 6 battleground states and we are on this shortest of short tracks. Never in the history of American presidential elections have we ever had a last minute switch in a campaign and a new candidate like this one with at the time with 90 days to go, now less than 40 days to go. We're into 3-handle. We're into 30 something days left. We're moving so fast. Our British compatriots, right, who do short track elections, who do short amount of campaigning, their heads are spinning like, what is happening in America? Right? How quickly are they electing this president? That's my terrible British accent. But that's the reporting for right now. I'm going to continue to follow it. If you like this kind of content, this kind of commentary, it's almost like a radio show at this point, then you're going to love the new Legal AF MTN for Midas Touch Network YouTube channel. Free subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Leave some comments. It sends a message literally to the algorithmic gods that you like what's coming your way and you want more of it. We haven't left Midas Touch. They're our brothers. They're our mama and our papa. We're still here. Their name is in our title, Legal AF MTN, but we're doing something different here. We're another pro-democracy channel in collaboration with them, and we're trying to build to 200,000 subscribers before the end of October. I think we're going to get there. We're already halfway there, and we're only 10 days old. I can't even blow out the candles yet on this birthday cake. So you'll help us build this network. Come here for law and politics commentary and analysis like no other. Find out what 40 million people a month already know. That Legal AF is the home of law and politics. And I'll be curating those top stories at the crossroads right there. Lawyers on this channel talking about things they know what they're talking about at the intersection of law and politics. How refreshing. So I thank you for being here, and I personally invite you to join our channel. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF podcast on the Midas Touch Network, or my new content right here, including a new show. Let me announce it here. New show right here, Legal AF channel, called Unprecedented. It'll be following the Supreme Court. I'll have a revolving door of amazing commentators, starting with Dina Dahl. We'll be talking about the Supreme Court beginning to end once a week on Unprecedented. You can only get it on Legal AF MTN, so free subscribe. Till my next hot take, I'll see you, and I'm reporting. I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.